Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising, here is your tarot reading for the week ahead. As ever, please take what's helpful, leave what isn't. Always get the messages to fit into your life rather than trying to get your life to fit around the messages. A bit of a mixed bag again this week. There is definitely some strong themes that are recurring for almost all the zodiac signs, and you're no exception. Not all doom and gloom by any means, any stretch of the imagination. We start with the Page of Pentacles reversed. Page of Pentacles is the seed. He's trying to decide where to plant his seed, what he wants for himself within the future. And there can sometimes be instances of motivation, of excitement. I often see the pages as coming with the enthusiasm that is linked with neophytes, people that are starting something afresh and anew, and they're full of wide-eyed wonder. This seemed very much applicable to things that have happened within the past, whether that's projects that you'd started, whether that was relationships that you'd started, but anything that you'd had hope and promise for. In probably a fairly recent past, we're talking maybe in the last 6 months, maybe even sooner. And this week, sounds a bit doom and gloom, I know. This week represents almost the dashing of that hope. Now, sometimes when we have our hopes dashed, it can feel quite painful. We can feel quite sensitive. It can kind of hit us in the heart. But what is also useful from those moments and those instances is that we gain a clarity, that we realize that we may have been placing or hedging our bets in the wrong place, in the wrong way, or that we have allowed our anticipation and excitement to become disproportionate, that things within our mind perhaps get more fantastical. This is not about, and I want to really emphasize this isn't me dashing hopes. This is not me saying, in the words of Marge Simpson, I remember her saying to Bart and Lisa, kids, keep your expectations low, so low that you can never be disappointed. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there may have very well been plants that the seeds that you had planted in the recent past that haven't quite blossomed, bloomed, budded in the way that you'd anticipated. I said right at the beginning of this reading that this seems to be coming across the board, and it is. There seems to be a breaking point about mid-Feb, from kind of the latter part of February. Things will most likely feel a little bit lighter. I say a lot of this because we have the next card, which is the Death card, and this is about letting go. What is always important with the Death card is that we have the new sun, the sunrise right in the background, so there are brighter days ahead. This is by no means to paint this week as terrible by any means, but just some challenges arising from effort being applied and hope being given that may not transpire in the way that you'd anticipated. Part of the other reason I say this is we have the Seven of Cups, which is the Lord of Illusionary Success. And this seems to be linking very much with the Page of Pentacles. It's not that I want you to not have that hope or those ambitions or that aspiration. It's just we sometimes have to be accepting and realistic of, okay, that hasn't quite landed as I'd hoped, but at least I gave it a shot. At least I gave it a try. And particularly as that new sun is shown within the Death card, having a belief and trust that something better, bigger, brighter is meant for you instead. I'm sure we can identify with those times that we go for that job interview and we didn't get it. And we can feel really crushed and really disappointed with ourselves. But actually, we just have to know, well, maybe that wasn't the situation. If it was meant for me, it would have come for me. And I feel that this week will represent that. Interestingly, you have two cards that appeared for Taurus here. The Three of Swords reversed and the Nine of Swords. The Lord of Sorrow and the Lord of Despair. Interesting that we have one upright and one reversed. Therefore, you may feel and find that some of those things that you were worried about, anxious about, don't even come into reality. But as these balance, you know, as any star sign should know, it should be you, Libra. Everything comes in kind of balance. The fact that you've got these two things in reverse, because they're almost the same card. One is Lord of Sorrow, the other is the Lord of Despair. So it's indicating that it's really nice to see this in reverse, because it often feels like the swords dropping out of the heart. So they're being healing, they're being emotional reassurance, they're being those worries and anxieties that have perhaps come releasing. And that's really, really nice to see. It's just, I suppose also there's in part a choice between how are you going to react to some of these illusions being dispelled, some of these illusions being shattered, of, okay, I'd anticipated it to fall this way, but actually in reality it's fallen this way. Are you going to allow yourself to go, okay, that's great, that's another window of opportunity, that is clarity for me. It's not that, it's going to be something different. Or are you going to mourn your losses? Are you going to allow it to bring about a certain anxiety and sleepless nights? Because this doesn't really serve a purpose. There was certainly a theme last week coming up a lot, or maybe 2 weeks ago, with that new moon in Virgo that was asking a lot of us to let go. I feel for you, Libra, that theme is still playing out more than most. It will probably be a very cathartic week, and therefore I would encourage you to lean into those points of the catharsism. Is that journaling? Is that socializing? Is that spending time in nature? Is that going out and doing things that you find really fun? Is that a bit of escapism? What is it that is going to allow you to get things off your chest? And in some ways, mourn your losses, but I don't want you to mourn them to such a degree that it creates a kind of emotional heaviness. We don't need to go that far. A good time, a really good time, I'm being told, to have a good declutter and a good clear out. Whether that's of your home, whether that's of your space, whether that's of your mind, whether that's of your wardrobe, whether that's of your things you need to get off your chest, whatever it might be. But it's a very, very good time, I can't stress this enough, to create space. This is why the Death card is appearing for you. This is also why they're talking about the Page of Pentacles in reverse. They're showing an image of almost digging out the seeds that haven't germinated, and no longer just waiting and with expectation that they will. It's like, okay, they haven't, right, discard those. Let's create space for what is going to work. So in that case, you might want to write down everything that's playing on your mind. Again, that would feel really cathartic for this kind of things being trapped in your head. If you're having difficulties with a particular person, maybe you want to write a letter to them. You don't have to send it, but just get it off your chest. And if your physical space is feeling a little bit chaotic, maybe it's time to approach on that. It's about using these points of, okay, that hasn't quite worked out as I anticipated, as a catalyst, as a motivator for something optimistic and positive. That's your task this week. It sounds perhaps a little bit, but it doesn't need to be. What will also help, invariably, is to check out your rising sign and your moon sign if you haven't already. If you're not sure how to do that, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can check the pinned comment below. It has a link to find out that information for free. And then you can get 3 readings a week. And that will just really help you bring some more clarity into the energies of the week ahead. And as ever, I'm just asking people to please subscribe, hit the notifications, like and comment. What that does is encourages me that this is useful for people, that I should be turning up each week and creating this content. It is quite labor intensive, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So if I just have that feedback, if I know people are engaged, it just really, really encourages me to carry on. So I ask you to be a little bit of a cheerleader for the moment. But until next time, have a gorgeous week, and I shall see you then. Bye for now.